guys? Welcome to the Rule of Two, where the Star Wars news saga continues. I'm Manny.
I'm Terrence.
And today we're going to talk about Solo. How low?
Solo.
And that's what the box office was. Grossing $83 million in 3 days, 100 plus in whatever, 4 days, 148 or whatever it was for the worldwide. Awful.
China, you let me down.
One of the lowest, 10 million in China. One of the lowest, if not the lowest grossing Star Wars film of all time.
Of all time, and you know, the prequels even made more money.
I think maybe Attack of the Clones might have been a little lower maybe, but this is still bad. The lowest in the whole Disney era. So the box office was pretty bad on Memorial Day. First of all,
it did have two competitors. Let's give it that. It did have two competitors. If it had come out in December, this movie would have made Rogue One movie.
Thank you so much. And that is my point, and that's what it's saying. You want to talk competitors? Yeah, they had Avengers. Yeah, they had Deadpool. But you know who else was the competition? The Last Jedi. They're the freaking biggest competition, to be honest with you, because that was only 6 months ago.
Yeah, it was very soon. It was a very quick turnaround for another Star Wars movie.
Exactly. It was not right. This was not a continuation or anything of the... Now, if this was episode 9, it might have worked a little bit, because if you remember right, Harry Potter... Deathly Hallows Part 1, I believe, was in November. Part 2 was in the summer, and it worked because it continued. It ended. There was a purpose for it. There was no purpose for this.
I mean, if you got to think about it too, Marvel does 2 or 3 Marvel movies a year, so.
True, but they always have that spacing between May 4th, July, and then later, pretty much November-ish. November 4th.
December to May is a big space.
Or true, but they're different. They're different, completely different. They're within the same continuity as far as they're still talking about stones, Infinity Stones, and all this other crap, right?
Okay, I think if this movie come out Labor Day, if they didn't want to go all the way to December, if they pushed it to Labor Day,
it could have
done what they wanted.
But then you're rivaling school, going back to school.
You still get the holiday though.
And that
they wanted that holiday money.
And that brings me to the Memorial Day.
Okay.
Graduation parties. Graduations are happening. Things are happening.
People are going to see Deadpool. People are going to go see Avengers.
So I think.
And China's not doing anything.
I honestly believe that it got a bad rap after all of the reshoots and all the stuff, and firing Phil Lord and Chris Miller, and then bringing on Ron Howard. That was part of it. It was troubled the whole time, but because it was troubled and had all this negative press so early, especially around Jedi time. You're absolutely right. They should have released it in December. It would have easily made more than that.
It would.
December 15th.
Why won't they own this month? Why won't they own that month? It was like, why are we still playing with the same statistics that were worked in the movie? Yeah, in the movie industry a long time ago, where nobody saw any movies outside of the summer. Everybody waited till the summer to go out and get into the theaters. We now know people will go spend money year round. It doesn't have to be in the summer, and all you guys are doing are just cutting your own throat, especially with your own movie. Exactly. With your own movie, they're cutting their own throat. It's like, just own December, make all your money, be happy, and stop trying to chase imaginary dollars that aren't there in the summer anymore, because so much stuff is jam-packed within a 2-month window.
Now you got counter programming pretty much in December, which you have a select few titles like last year. You had Jedi, you had Jumanji, you had Greatest Showman. You had a lot of counter programming, and then you look at the times. What's going on in the summer? People are, like I said before, they're graduating high school. They're doing this and that.
Right, people got things
getting ready for summer vacation.
Right.
Doing things like that. But what is the winter?
Nothing. Is you want to stay home. You want to watch a movie.
Or you want to go out as families. Yeah. I had groups of freaking 7, 10, 32 from New York together. And that is where majority of that money for Jedi came. You look at Rogue One, which was debuted at $155 million, okay? That happened in December.
Right.
A lot of people went to that. Also brand new characters, but still tied into the original trilogy.
If Rogue One had come out in the summer, it would have bombed.
Thank you. Absolutely right. Now,
it would have bombed.
Even though Garrett Edwards directed a great film, great cinematography was awesome, but you're absolutely right. If that thing would have been released in the summer, it would have been doomed. There's no way in hell it would have been.
It would have had so many things to compete with, and then we would have done the same thing. It was like, didn't we just watch a Star Wars film?
Yeah. And then but then you look at the characters themselves. Jyn Erso and those guys and all.
It was an interesting story to tell, but I mean, it was nobody knew these characters. Nobody knew any of these characters. That character, I mean, that movie was gonna bomb. It would have done worse than Solo.
But I'm talking about as far as the movie itself.
Yeah, no, I mean,
and we're talking about December. Okay, fine, but I'm talking about like as far as the movie itself had brand new characters with cameos that gave you that nostalgia with Vader and an awesome Vader scene at the end.
We really didn't know it was in it.
Right, we didn't even know it was in it. Well, we knew he was
he was in it, but like we didn't think that he was going to have that part. It wasn't like we were going to, at the time that they showed the trailer, we were going to go see Vader for 10 seconds.
Right.
That's what we were going to go see him for.
The pissed off walk.
Yeah.
Whatever the hell his name, Krennic. Yeah. But anyway, so you have that. Then you have, in Han Solo, you have a pretty well-known character.
Right.
But everybody knows what's going to happen to him. Now, if he said, "Man, my kids are going to be the death of me," that'd have been hilarious. But but people already know about the character and what's going to happen, so it's kind of hard to really get into.
They're not saying like every biography movie should bomb.
True, that's very true. But I'm talking about as far as Star Wars.
Every biography movie should bomb. Every biopic that you guys go out and see, you shouldn't go see it because you're going to know what happens. Oh my God, it was like this guy's going to die at the end, by the way.
You know what? I bet you Titanic's going to move away from
they didn't do anything different with the Titanic. You know, I would have been okay if they had told me more story about the ice and the glaciers.
Exactly. It was hilarious. Not hilarious, but everybody's like, "Oh, I remember the Oscars back in '97 or in '98," and they're like, "Oh, the Titanic is yeah." And Cameron does the right thing and says, "Can I have a moment of silence for people that lost their lives?"
Yeah, very true.
And they're like, "Oh shit, they really did that."
People die. And
oh crap!
You know what? I make the joke. We make the joke about the Titanic, but I guess in the sense of doing something different, he made it a love story. So shit we had made. I mean, they did do something different.
Right.
They made Han Solo it wasn't just about him being a roguish scoundrel. And it was like he had, there was a growing up relationship with Qi'ra. Mm-hmm. They told that story like, hey, this is a childhood friend of his who he grew up and he had a relationship. Everybody looks past that point when talking about they didn't do any different. It's like, oh, they did the Kessel Run, they did the Sabbat game, they did the Life Debt, which I got my things about the Life Debt. They did that, and then the movie ended. No, they explored this whole relationship he had with Qi'ra and his dislike for the Empire. They told us that. They never really told us that before. They just said that he had a couple run-ins with the Empire, that he wasn't a friend of theirs. That's all they said. But they explained more the reason why, because it was more along the lines of, and I know you haven't quite seen it yet, but they explain more reason why, because he was he considers him a free thinker, and like he saw the evil side of the Empire, even though it was basically just war. He saw their nature and he was like, this is wrong, I can't do this. So I think they did show us a bunch of different new things with his character, and you guys are all looking past it because they hit the regular beats we knew they were gonna do. Mm-hmm. They couldn't have done this movie and not done it. They couldn't have been like, oh, okay, we're gonna do this movie, we're not gonna do the Kessel Run. People would have been pissed. We're not gonna do the Sabbat game. People would have been pissed. We're not gonna do Live Day. Yeah, exactly. No.
Wow.
No, they didn't do that one because they left the door for a sequel on that.
Okay. Well, like you said, I think it would have done a lot better in
they've done great in December.
Mm-hmm. Which I really expected for them to do that, but so here's what sucks. Disney stock has fallen because of the poor box office.
One movie?
Shares fell a full 1% for Disney because of the box office failure of Solo. Because of the reshoots, because of all the things, hiring Ron Howard and all this other stuff, it actually ballooned the budget up to $250 million.
Right,
making
because
it one of the
reshoots.
most expensive Star Wars movies ever made.
Okay,
that's a shock. And they had effing Star Wars Force Awakens was like, you would think that would be the one.
Well, because they didn't have to reshoot 70% of the movie.
But I'm saying, like, you have Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
You have I know the new guys aren't gonna get that much money for it.
You had Woody Harrelson.
But you still Woody Harrelson.
You had Woody Harrelson, sir. And you had Dong Glover himself. It was
Glover.
That dude's now his stock has risen so much that he can start demanding more money out of people. So
you know what sucks about that? Well, we'll get to that a little bit.
But it's one of those things. It was a Suicide Squad effect, World War Z effect, to where what kind of squad? Suicide Squad. When we talk about every other movie but Star Wars. But like World War Z didn't make a lot of money either because they reshot that movie again. And it's like they spent so much money reshooting that movie. Suicide Squad got reshot and recut multiple times. So I mean, that's just one of those things where they have to sit and say, it's like, we're not going to make money on this movie. We're doing this movie because we're trying to set up other things. And I assume that they're still willing to move forward with, because they left so much open at the end to do a sequel, that they're still going to continue on with him and this character, like we never had this character, with him and Han Solo. They're still going to do more with that, because I think that the second time around, put in December, it will do way better.
I think so too. They just announced a Boba Fett movie, so it's going to be interesting to see how or if that still happens because of this, or the future of the spin-offs altogether. Now, you do have some pretty dang good freaking Star Wars stories. The Thrawn trilogy is something that really does need to happen.
Honestly.
But regardless, and maybe a Vader trilogy, a real Vader trilogy.
I saw it was episode 1, 2, and 3.
Right. But what do you think? What do you think the future of the Star Wars anthology films, or not anthology, but the Star Wars stories? What do you think is going to happen?
I think that they're going to get scared and do a Lando movie.
They should not do a Lando movie. They should not do a
Lando movie. I think they're going to
turn into a Donald Glover movie and not a Lando movie.
I think they're going to get scared because of the fan reaction to Donald Glover as Lando. I think they're going to get scared, and they're going to want a home run. They're going to be like, well, let's just do a Lando movie. Let's show you more of what Lando was like, being like a card player and, you know, not paying his parking tickets and having his ship impounded. So it's like, I think they're going to go ahead and do, because there's no more story to tell for Lando, by the way. I think they're going to screw up and do that, and I hope Kathleen Kennedy, you know, if you watch the show, which I'm sure you do, don't do that. Don't do that. Stick with your plan. Give us another Han Solo film, which I didn't think I would want a sequel, but after seeing it, yeah, I kind of do want a sequel, and spin off from there. Give me my Obi-Wan film. Give me my Boba Fett film, where he is basically Han Solo's villain in Han Solo 2. But I don't want an actual individual film for him. Just give me a lot of backstory of him in the movie. Do those things and tell me more other stories outside of the characters we already know. Give me some more Rogue One stuff. That's what I want to know. I want to know how all the Bothans died to bring us this information.
Forget it. The spin-offs I think they're in trouble. I think, in all honesty, I think that there's a lot of things that they're missing. I think Kathleen Kennedy and the Disney group that are in charge of this thing they're killing the Star Wars franchise. To be honest with you,
I don't think they're killing it. Look, you had one miss, and this is like barely a miss. It's a tip foul. Now, that's not a miss. That's a tip foul, dude.
But even though you don't hate The Last Jedi,
you don't.
People hated The Last Jedi. And
it's a divisive movie, polarizing. A lot of people liked it. A lot of people did not like it.
Yes, but I'm talking about, look, man, the way The Last Jedi looked, it looked like it was just setting up Rian Johnson's trilogy.
No, it is. It's setting up
not being true to the original trilogy, because you're still in that story arc. You're still continuing from the reintroduction.
So you think that
in the first place
that they screwed themselves by the way, they gave us some original stuff. They did something different in Last Jedi.
Yes,
so you think they screwed themselves by giving us something different? So they go back in the safe, and now they feel like even course correcting didn't fix their problems.
No, look, they did go in a different direction. I thought the direction was great. To be honest with you, I like The Last Jedi.
I like The Last Jedi.
There were 2 scenes that didn't have to happen.
Yeah, the casino scene that didn't have to happen.
Okay, 3 scenes that didn't even have. The casino scene, Leia dying. They should have just left her die in space. They should have let her die in space. And 2 is, I was really wanting to see a Luke Skywalker version of the Darth Vader scene in Rogue One.
You did. It was the imaginary Luke Skywalker.
No, he didn't do anything to anybody.
It was the Force Luke Skywalker.
No, but he didn't do anything to anybody. All he did was this shit. So, and that was it. Which
that's cool enough.
That's awesome.
That's cool enough.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You really wanted to see him be the.
I wanted him to be Luke Skywalker.
Right, anyway, so how does this deal with Solo though?
Okay, well, what I'm saying is that it's first of all, they're commercializing Star Wars more than ever. And by that I mean, listen, just hold on.
But I was about to say, the movies ended in the 80s. They ain't stopped selling Star Wars since.
I'm not talking about commercial in that regard. Maybe that's the wrong word. But they're putting a lot of things that don't need to be in there. You know, like the pansexual thing does not need to be in there. It
didn't need to be in there, no. It wasn't necessary.
And if they're really looking for diversity and all that, okay, that's great. But this is Star Wars. You make another movie.
You know how you can add diversity to Star Wars? Put more black people in it. Because we got 2 black people in the Star Wars.
And that's 2 more than the Mexicans are in there. So I don't want to hear it. I want Juan Solo. Anyway. So tell us what you think about the state of Star Wars and how
man.
Solo is killing the franchise. So Billy D. Williams in Star Wars Episode 9, since we're talking about The Last Jedi there, Billy D. Williams is on a hardcore diet and has been training 3 days a week. Could he be preparing?
He could be.
For Episode 9, which is filming this July.
Okay, so do you remember how when you first saw Mark Hamill on screen, you saw him with a beard and you were like, oh man, he's kind of old? And you have your realization that Mark Hamill's old? Have you seen Billy D at Comic-Cons?
Billy D can't walk.
Exactly. That dude is decrepit. I mean,
he's 81 years old.
Look, if he's going to be in, because we all want him in it, because they brought everybody else back. We all want him in it. If he's going to be in it, that dude needs to be sitting behind a desk somewhere on Bespin and not doing nothing but for like a 5-second cameo and say, oh, look, there was Billy D. Lando's back. Lando's back. And that way we can have our moment and we can move on. Just like, don't make that man needs to just rest and be happy of his whole great life that he had. He doesn't need to be forced to get back out there. Don't give him a fighting scene. He ain't got to put the guard costume on.
And Droid sings the blues.
No, I don't want that. I don't want that at all. I don't want that at all. He didn't have to be smuggling. Show me, do Han's funeral that we didn't get in Last Jedi. Do Han's funeral. Have Lando be there.
Okay, I can see that. I also see him in the role that you're saying as far as being in command after Akbar dies. Akbar dies, gives it.
I'm talking about Cloud City.
No, get back there. There was a thing online that was pretty interesting. It's like, how are you going to be pretty much the ruler of Cloud City?
And then leave it, yeah.
No, the ruler of Cloud City, but they only make you a general in the alliance.
Right? It's like
you're just a general. Bitch, I own my own city.
I own a city. All these people under my command.
Yeah. Code 45. That's how I guess.
Do you think that's their national drink?
Oh man!
As I take over Cloud City, I promise a job for every person and a Coke 45 in every hand.
They made him a general because he's the general in Undercover Brother 2.
That's right, he is.
General's fried chicken. Oh man, this is horrible. Take us home.
Ah, great. If you're still tuned into
the number one Star Wars show on YouTube, if you counting backwards.
Make sure you subscribe. We as we get more Star Wars news, we do Rule of Two a little bit more often. So right now we're riding the hype of Solo. So you should see a couple more of these videos come out soon. Solo. If this is the first time that you're on the channel, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. So that way you're aware of all the other videos that we do on the channel, because we do a lot of other different things. Some are vary in degrees of good.
That's very good. That's awful. For Aspen and Art, wherever the hell they're at, I'm Manny.
I'm Terrence.
And may the force be with you.
And also with you for Art at home.
Okay. Who does the intro? Do I do the intro?
I've been doing the intro for the last few shows.
You want to do it?
I'll do it. I've been doing the intro.
But then I gotta do the close. I don't like going to close. I'll do the intro.
All right.
I start, you finish.
Okay.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1.